Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy that you're here and that you're taking some time out for yourself. And today's topic is rest is your superpower. You hear a lot on social media, the power of rest. And today I hadn't planned to talk about this, but something happened to me today and I just realized how important it is. So if you're watching this and you don't know much about me, I have 4 kids. And today, 3 out of those 4 are home with me, sick. And, I've been caring for them. My husband had to stay at home and with both of us caring for our kids, babysitter canceled, etc., etc. And at one point they were all napping. All 3 of them were sleeping. And I was like, I need to do the dishes. I need to do this. And I'm going to need to work out because I haven't worked out all week. That's what my brain was doing, right? All 3 babies are napping. I haven't done anything today. I haven't done anything productive today. Literally, I actually went to get the weights, my 5-kilo weights, to do some weights because I've hit 40 and that's all you hear. After you hit 40, you need to do weights. And then I was like, and my body was like, what are you doing? You have been doing stuff. You've been caring for 3 children. And even if you hadn't been caring for 3 children, the moment you get a moment of rest, like my body was telling me, no, you need to get horizontal, or you need to shut your eyes, or you need to rest so that then you can recover for what's rest to come. And what you did in the morning was very useful. It might not seem productive to the rest of the world because you're not actually doing anything. You're just caring for people. And, so we're constantly having this like debate with what the head is telling us what to do, but the body wants something else. And you can feel that also during pregnancy and postpartum. And I realize also that it's easy to notice this on hard days. So on a tough day, when you're not feeling so good, or you're ill, or your child is ill, it's actually easy to recognize that you need rest. And it's easy to say, well, I deserve some rest today because I've had a tough day. But it becomes really difficult to do this on the not tough days. On the good days, on the days that you're full of energy, that you've slept well, that you've had a great day, that the weather is good, on those good days, you're like, okay, today is an all go day. Let's go, go, go. And it brought me back to the topic of what we're doing here is about creating something sustainable and how we forget on those good days that rest is also a powerful practice. It's easy to remember that on the tough days and we forget about that on the good days. I just wanted to share that because it kind of had a light bulb moment today. And as a yoga teacher, as a restorative yoga teacher, even as we get caught into this trap of doing and doing and doing, and we constantly need that reminder. So I'm going to hand it over to Tess now. Tess is a holistic women's health specialist, and she knows about everything from yoga therapy, somatic healing, Ayurvedic nutrition, pelvic floor health, menopausal health. She's trauma specialist, Yoga Nidra, and she's all about women's health. And Tess is one of our permanent yoga teachers on the Krish Yoga Studio. She teaches our monthly restorative yoga and our weekly strong mama yoga. And she's going to explain to you what's the big deal, restorative yoga, why it's your superpower, and then going to show you how to bring it into your life. So thank you, Tess. I will mute myself and hand it over to you.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Krish. And yes, I totally agree, right? It's so easy to like, oh, if I'm exhausted, fine, then I'll like fit in a little rest. But you don't think about the other days that lead up to that, right? It's all about when I'm exhausted, then that's when I rest, not, hey, I'm going to take a couple minutes here and there so that I don't get to those points of absolute can't do anything else exhaustion, right? We're maintaining, we're sustaining. So that's a really good shout out at the beginning here. Welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. I'm joining you from, at the moment, sunny northern Spain. It is usually raining here, so it's quite exciting that it's sunny. And we're just going to dive right in. We have a lot of information to go through. I'm going to do my best to go through it as quickly as possible. So on that note, I am going to share my presentation with you. So we're going to do a little bit of this presentation, and then we're going to do some practical, because that's important, right? We need to feel it to fully understand it. But I also think it's good just to go over some of this as well. So rest is your superpower, supporting your nervous system through pregnancy and motherhood. So this is, we're focusing on pregnancy and motherhood because we are obviously, as women, we do a lot. Many of us work at the same time of being pregnant, at the same time of being mothers. And even if we're not, quote unquote, working for money, we're still working to take care of our families. And we don't often take this time for ourselves, even though it is actually very, very helpful, not just in the aspect of being able to survive the day, but supporting our body and supporting how our body functions, and how we're able to show up for others as well. So very quickly, we're going to go over the nervous system and what happens when you're always on, why rest is vital to overall health, restorative yoga and how it can help. And then we'll do 3 restorative yoga postures and a final relaxation that I'm hoping that these postures will be easily accessible for you, that you could just kind of pop into them whenever you need them. So you could do them all together, or you could do them separately as well. In a very, very rough way of looking at the nervous system, our nervous system has 2 main modes: activation and rest and repair. Activation is that doing, planning, protecting, that rest, that fight, flight, freeze response, right? We are getting things done. We're moving. We're protecting our families. We're protecting ourselves. We're protecting our surroundings. We're on. Rest and repair is this part of the nervous system that's healing, it's digestion, it's recovery. So notice that healing, this could be healing from, after giving birth. This could be healing from an injury. This could be just healing on a day-to-day basis, right? We put our bodies through a lot of things. So just, making sure that we're resting to get that healing on a day-to-day basis. Digestion of food. So when we're not able to rest a lot, right, our food isn't able to digest as well. Yes, it's good to move if you've had a lot of food, but it's also really important to rest, because then your body is able to properly digest and use what it's taken in. But it's also digesting experiences. It's digesting things that you're going through as well. So lots of times when we're in this activation mode, we don't really process what things we're going through. We're not able to move that through the body, and it gets stuck in the body. So thinking about that as well. So it's not just food digestion, but it's also, right, stress, tension, that sort of thing, that experiences that we've had. And then recovery, again, healing, improving on a day-to-day basis, but also from some experiences we might have, recovering from physical events like pregnancy, that sort of thing. So we want to move through both, though. We don't just think we should always be in rest and repair. We need that activation. We need the rest and repair. So it's good to go through both. But the issue is that in general and in our day-to-day lives, we tend to stay in the activation mode and we don't move into the rest and repair. So that's why it's helpful to build in these little rest moments throughout the day. And that could just be a couple of minutes. It makes a huge, huge difference. So what happens when we're always on? Again, this is a very, very brief look at what this means, but mental load often increases as well when you're having even before your baby. So in that anticipation of a need, so just thinking of from the pregnancy point of view, right? Anticipating the needs of the baby, anticipating what you need to have at home, anticipating the needs of family, holding that responsibility of taking care of a newborn baby, right? Taking care of the family that you already have, that's already around you. And then your body is on because it's like, well, I need to protect myself and I need to protect other things around me, other beings around me. And I need to protect this baby that's inside of me. And then when the baby comes, right, all of those things continue on. So it's not just in the like on with the baby, it's also on before that, but it's also on even if we don't have kids, right? Even if there isn't children there, we have the stress of our work, we have the stress of daily life, stress of things that are going on in the world around us, right? And when we don't take that time to take a step back, our body doesn't realize that it's safe to stand down and relax. And so it keeps staying in this alert mode. And that is when we have things that, sorry, I was moving on because I was thinking I had this other slide, but took it out. When we have issues with our mood fluctuating, when we have issues with digestion, we have issues with not sleeping properly, we have issues with tension, pain, discomfort in the body. Again, there's lots of things going on here that when we're in the activation mode, it puts strain on our heart, it puts strain on our body, and it's just not overly beneficial. So rest is not optional because it helps with immune system resilience, helps with hormonal regulation, helps with emotional processing, physical and mental healing, energy levels, sleep, communication, libido, and I can keep going on with this. I just don't have a lot of space here. So rest is needed for everyday functioning of the body. And I'm not just talking about, of course, it's important that we sleep at night, but when we're able to take little rest moments throughout the day, this invites the body to relax so that then when we get to that sleep time, it actually is able to properly sleep. Because if we're on all day, then lots of times we're not able to actually properly shut off at night because we're still in that vigilance mode. But if we're able to kind of dip in and out of that rest, then the body is like, oh, okay, I don't have to be up here. I can be more here. And then when sleep comes, it's like, yeah, I can fully relax. So how do we build in these moments? Well, there's lots of ways to build in little rest moments for yourself, but we're talking about restorative yoga today. So let's focus on restorative yoga. Restorative yoga is yoga that is supported conscious rest. So we put our body into supported postures and we hold them for several minutes. The idea is that there is no effort. There's no doing it right. There is bringing lots of different props to fully support your body so it feels as though it is safe, it's secure, and it can fully rest. Benefits include, not limited to, but include things like reduce stress, improve sleep quality, recovery from injury, weight loss. You might think, why weight loss? Weight loss because our body is digesting. Self-awareness. Also going back to the weight loss, when you feel safe, you're not as likely to hold on to those fats, right? Our body tends to hold on to fat to protect itself. And so when you're feeling safe and at ease, then that it's more likely that that'll start releasing out of the body. Self-awareness and interoception. So again, that understanding of what is happening in the body, being more aware of what's going on when we're hungry, when we're thirsty, when we're tired, when we need that rest, when we're maybe overstimulated, that sort of thing. And then overall improved mental well-being. So just kind of thinking of all of those different things can come from just putting yourself into a posture that feels supported, that is easeful. We're not looking at a book. We're not looking at a screen. We are simply inviting ourselves to be in the moment and to teach the nervous system how to rest while we are awake. So it's quite the powerful practice. So why holding poses longer works? So the time and the support helps that nervous system shift. The first few minutes are often the most difficult because our mind is still really busy. Our mind is like going all over the place. But then it's also tuning into, maybe that's sort of the body's not fully comfortable. Oh, can I move here? Oh, I've got this thing that I have to do. Oh, maybe I should just go do that. Maybe whatever, right? So if the body's uncomfortable, bring in more props. See if you can support yourself even more. But also, if you have like these to-do lists coming up on your mind, just take a moment, say, okay, they're there. If you need to, write something down, set it aside, and then invite your body to, again, attempt that relaxation. And then little by little, the more we hold this, the more our body starts to realize that we are okay, that we're safe, that we can tune into that parasympathetic, that rest and restore part of the nervous system. So our breath starts to slow, our exhale lengthens, our muscles relax. You might notice that you're swallowing. This is a sign that the parasympathetic nervous system, that rest, restore part of the nervous system is engaging. And all of this helps that nervous system to using the posture, the holding the posture for longer with the props helps the nervous system to feel safe. So kind of already went over this, but props are helpful because they reduce strain on joints and tissues, pelvic floor, back. They help the nervous system relax. They accommodate changing bodies as well, right? So especially as we're going through pregnancy to postnatal, right? Our body is changing throughout all of that. But even as we age, right? As we get older, our body is changing. And it's not always doing exactly what we think it should be. So bring in more props, invite more comfort, invite your body to really feel safe and held. Because, as I said before, the more supported your body is, the more you can take that time to really rest without guilt, the better. Props are not indulgent, they are therapeutic. I originally started my yoga practice with being fairly traditional, and we had like no props whatsoever. I trained in India. And so it's been a journey for me as well, bringing in more props. But as I've aged and, things happening in life, it's like, oh, props are really nice. So do invite more props into your practice, especially when it comes to restorative yoga. All right, so let's move from understanding rest to letting your body experience it. Hopefully you have a mat nearby and you want to make your way to your mat. I'm going to do my best here to lower my screen without popping off the camera. All right, so I have several props here. Now, you don't necessarily need all of these props, but I just kind of wanted to show you what was possible. So I have a couple of homemade bolsters here, and I'm using these because I really want to show you that this is totally possible to do at home. You don't have to go out and buy any real special anything. So I just have 2 pillows from IKEA that I shoved into a pillowcase, and it helps just to make it a little bit firmer, a little bit stiffer. You could also possibly use a sofa cushion as well. So I have a couple of those pillows. I have an eye mask here. Eye masks can be really lovely just to give a little bit of extra weight, extra support to invite the body to relax. If you don't have an eye mask at home, that's totally fine. You can make your own, but very briefly, you can have a sock, make sure it's clean, pour in some rice or lentils, tie it, and then you can have an eye mask. And then yoga blocks, lots of blankets, and a chair or a wall. So if you have all of that stuff nearby, or if you have just a couple of things, if you don't have yoga blocks, you could also use thick books or maybe even like a pot as well. I've had students use pots because that's what they had at home. So it's all about making it as accessible as possible so that you actually do it. I'm going to show you 3 different postures, as I said, that are easier to do during the day, that you can just kind of pop into. And And so the first one I'm going to show you is a forward fold using a chair. You don't need a chair. You could just use your pillows as well. But I think most of us have access to chairs, and this can be a really nice posture to do, whether you're pregnant, whether you're postnatal, because it leaves space for baby, it leaves space for your abdomen. There's not a lot of pressure going on. So one option is to put your legs in between the legs of the chair. The other option is to have your legs a little wider. So just see what feels comfortable for you in your body. So we'd bring the chair up close, and we might add a pillow onto it. We might even bring a pillow in between yourself and the chair. I'll take my glasses off. And then we just sort of drape maybe our arms over. We could wrap, maybe put our arms one on top of the other, head in between them. We could thread the arms under the chair or around the chair. So just see whatever is comfortable here. If you're noticing that your legs are not super comfortable on the outsides of the chair legs, maybe bringing in blankets to cushion them. So again, just really inviting your body to feel comfortable and at ease, and invite this forward fold. So in an actual restorative class, we'd hold this for minimum 5 to 10 minutes. If you don't have that time during the day, that's fine. Even just a couple of minutes can make a huge difference. Forward folds are really wonderful for inviting the nervous system to relax. We send the breath not just to the front and upper part of our chest, but we start to send it into the back of the body. This helps remind the body that we're safe, we're comfortable, or we're safe and we can rest. Maybe not always comfortable, but hopefully you're comfortable and at ease. And I invite you just to notice what changes are going on in the body. If you notice your mind wandering, that's perfectly normal. Perhaps just simply bring it back to the body connecting with the earth below. If it feels comfortable, perhaps tuning into the breath. Noticing, does the breath change the longer you hold? So we're just going to hold for another couple breaths here. And then your next inhalation, slowly start to lift yourself up. Maybe pushing your chair away or sliding back. And just taking a moment there to notice. Notice if you just feel any differences from when we first started. And it's fine if you don't, right? So we're there for a couple of minutes. Is this something that you could bring into your life? Sitting down on the floor somewhere, forward folding. You could also forward fold over a table, right? So just with like props as well. So if that feels more comfortable for you. So from there, we're forward folding, and now we're going to start opening the heart space up. We're going to start opening the chest up. And to do that, I am going to bring in 3 blocks. If you have just a couple of blocks, you can also do that. I just like the extra support of having multiple blocks here. So I'm going to stack 2 blocks on top, and then another block below. And then I'll bring in my pillow. So I'm kind of creating like a step up here. I'm going to bring my pillow and I'm going to take it over the top here. And I'm going to bring in my blanket too here. And I'm going to bring in another pillow as well. So my blanket, I'm going to fold so that it's sort of open lengthwise like this. Or sort of, this is like the width of it. It's not the length, but it's nice and long. And it kind of looks like a scarf. You could also use a scarf for this or a yoga strap. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it, maybe here. We're going to wrap it around the top of the feet and then under the calves. And kind of just do like a little tie underneath. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together and we're going to let the knees open out wide here. We'll bring the pillow to the base of our spine and let the body lower down. If you're noticing you want some more support under the legs, you could bring in more blocks under the thighs, maybe a folded blanket, whatever you might have. So this other pillow, you could also use a blanket on this. I'm going to bring onto my abdomen. I'm just going to gently rest it on top. So what does this do? Especially if we're in states of a lot of tension, distress, stress, bringing a pillow on top of the abdomen, especially when you're coming into these postures that are heart opening, right? You're opening yourself up to the world. It can feel in this heart opening postures maybe feel a little bit too much. So when we bring that pillow on top, it just invites the body to feel a little bit more held, a little bit more at ease, safe, comfortable, all of the above. Now, if you have your eye pillow, you are more than welcome to maybe bring it over the eyes. If that's not comfortable to go over the eyes, maybe just bring it onto the forehead. Allowing the arms to rest to the sides. You could also bring your hands onto the abdomen. And then just taking a moment here to invite the body, little by little, to release into this posture. You could even perhaps visualize in this heart-opening posture with each breath in, pulling in maybe joy, happiness, love from the world around you. And each breath out, releasing anything that isn't serving. One little breath technique that could be really nice in these postures is golden thread breath. It's very simple. We breathe in through the nose if available. And then as you exhale, you gently part the lips and you release the breath through the lips as though it's a golden thread of breath. So you could just imagine as you breathe in, right, that joy, that love coming into the body. And as you breathe out, that golden thread just invites you to release anything that isn't serving you in this moment. And we'll hold for another couple of breaths. Then by little, we're going to start to lift ourselves up. So maybe removing the eye pillow. If you had a pillow over the abdomen, lifting that up. Slowly lifting up or turning on to one side first and then lifting. Okay. And again, when you get to the top, take your time, no rush. Just take a moment to tune in, notice. Are there any differences? And once again, it's fine if you don't notice any. It's just taking this time to recreate that mind-body connection, to take time to really start tuning into that interoception. So our last posture that we'll be doing is legs up on a chair. You could also do this legs up a wall. But well, it sort of depends. Sometimes I like doing it on the chair more than up the wall. I feel like it's a little bit more supportive because I feel like my whole lower legs being supported by the chair. But sometimes it's also really nice to do it up the wall. It's up to you. One thing I am going to recommend is you either bring in a scarf, a strap, or a blanket to wrap around the legs. So why? Because this way the legs are more likely to fully relax. Otherwise, legs up the wall, legs up the chair, when your legs aren't gently wrapped by a strap or a scarf or blanket, then they're more likely to still kind of be on, right? They're tensing a little bit here. So whether you're coming to a chair or to the wall, you're going to want to bring your hip up next to the side of the chair or the wall. And then we'll come onto our forearms and gently lift the legs up onto the chair. Just kind of use the forearms to walk yourself over to one side. And then lower yourself down. Now, if you wanted to have a pillow or something underneath you, you're more than welcome to. If you are highly pregnant, you might want to stay in a reclined position, just so you don't put as much weight onto the back of the body, right? So we could just gently recline it, maybe with 1 or 2 blocks under the pillow. And keep it gently reclined. So again, if I have a chair, I like to have my full lower leg fully supported here. Arms can be out to the sides. It could be on the abdomen. You could bring your eye pillow back in. This posture is really good for many reasons. Bringing the feet up above the heart allows the heart to not work as much. It invites any swelling that might have built up in the legs throughout the day to lessen. It also is really good for our nervous system to really invite the body to let go of tension. And again, you could bring in that golden thread breath. Sometimes it's nice to bring in tools like this that we can focus on. So when we sort of disengage from those to-do lists, those things that are popping up in your mind. But also sometimes it's just nice just to let your thoughts go wherever they want to without holding on to them. So maybe just sort of visualizing each thought like a river floating past you. And sometimes thoughts sort of pop up. You notice what's there. But then instead of engaging with that thought, you invite it to go back down into the river and continue to float off. Another good practice you can do in these postures, especially legs up the chair or wall. You could also just do it on the bed, lying down flat. It's progressive muscle relaxation. And so we're going to go through that right now. Progressive muscle relaxation is a wonderful technique that reminds the body that we can tense and we can release. We can be activated and we can be in that rest, digest, rest, restore mode. So I invite you to take your awareness down to your feet. And on your next inhalation, I invite you to squeeze your feet, maybe curl the toes. And on your exhale, release the feet, release the toe. On your inhalation, squeezing the feet and the legs, tightening the legs, tightening the feet. And with your exhale, releasing, letting the feet, the legs release into the support beneath. On your next inhalation, gently expanding your abdomen. And on your exhale, inviting the abdomen to release. On your next inhalation, doing your best to expand the rib cage, the chest. And on your exhale, inviting the rib cage, chest, and heart to let go. Taking your awareness down your arms into your hands and fingers. On your inhale, making fists with your fingers. And on your exhale, relaxing the hands. On your next inhalation, making fists with the hands, tightening the arms and the shoulders, pulling them up towards your ears. And then exhale, releasing the shoulders all the way down to the fingers. Inviting the whole body from the shoulders down to the toes to release into the support beneath. And on your next inhalation, squeezing in the face, pulling everything together. And on your exhale, relaxing the face. Letting the whole body release into the support beneath. And then on your next inhalation, we're going to squeeze the whole body together from the toes all the way up to the top of the head. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then exhale, invite the body to let go into the support beneath. Your whole body held. Your whole body releasing into that support. Your whole body letting go. And simply resting in that awareness of easeful relief for the next minute or so. Of course, if you were doing this in your own practice, you'd be able to hold this for as short or as long as you like. But in this moment, if you are here live at least, we're going to start to make our way up. If you're here watching the replay and you just want to pause for a little longer, you're more than welcome to. So I'm going to invite you to start, find a little bit of movement in the body, maybe the toes, the fingers, the arms, the legs. Maybe taking the hands side to side or finding a full body stretch. Or maybe bringing the knees into the chest. It might feel nice to sort of rock side to side here. And then I invite you to turn on to one side and pause there for a moment, coming into that fetal position. And while we're here, just kind of taking a moment to check in with the body. Noticing if there's any differences in sensations, physically, mentally, emotionally. And once again, if you don't notice any, that is okay. It's not about doing things right or wrong here. It is simply about you and giving back to you as best as you can and taking these moments to tune in with awareness, with self-compassion, grace. And then little by little here, we're going to start to lift. Coming into a comfortable seated position. And then just take a moment there again before we move back to the screen, finishing with our questions. I'm just going to invite you to bring your hands together at heart center. Maybe taking this opportunity to gently bow your head and thanking yourself for showing up for you, listening to your inner wisdom. And I thank you guys so much for joining me. So we're going to slowly make our way back to the computer screens. Again, thank you for being here. So I am curious to hear any questions you guys might have about the nervous system, about resting in general, about restorative yoga, anything.
Hi, Tess.
Yeah.
Just maybe if there was one pose that we could do when you only have 5 minutes. What would
I personally would do legs up on the chair or the wall. That is my go-to. I've actually designed my bedroom in a way that I can do this on my bed with my legs up the backboard of the bed. Because I find that super comfortable. Yeah, that is by far my go-to posture. So if that works for you, then please do it. But I just want to give you a few different options, right? Because especially at times when you're feeling stressed, tension, overload, right? And there's a lot of heart, weight on your heart. Sometimes those forward folds are really nice, right? Because we're releasing that weight towards the earth. We're taking our breath towards the back of the body. So it can be really, really nice. But then sometimes also moving from that into a more open position. And even if it's just like, if you've been in a forward fold posture for a few minutes, and then when you come out of it, you just kind of open your arms up, open your heart up, and just kind of stretch up just to invite that lift of energy, that lift of the heart, that opening of the body back up. Says, okay, here, I'm ready. I'm ready to meet the day. That can be a nice little shift. Any other questions? I just want to say one final thing. If you're feeling heart heavy, hugs are awesome. I'm watching Krish here give a hug to her child, and I'm just like, this is so important, right? Hugs to other people, but also hugging yourself, is and holding it for a while. I actually a few weeks ago, we're renovating our house, which is very stressful for me. And we're like over a year in it. And a couple of weeks ago, I was in a session and I brought in like a self hug into the session, and we were holding it for a while. And then I started realizing how tense, how stressed out, how much tension and like I was holding. And as I held it, my whole body just started softening. I was feeling like lots of emotions coming up. I was going, "Ooh, this is something I need to work on more." And I'm telling you that because, as Krish mentioned, just because this is something that we do as a living doesn't always mean that we're always perfect about showing up for ourselves either. We're human, and we have lots of things going on in life. So, as I said, give yourself a lot of grace, give yourself a lot of self-compassion. The only truth in the world is that we are human beings living a human experience, right? So when those moments of overwhelm, of guilt, of stress come up, give yourself a hug, give yourself that self-compassion, and just take things one step at a time.